Thanks for joining us for another installment of Anchors Away. On deck today, we're going to talk about the 800-pound gorilla that's in the room. If you haven't heard, there's a man who's been nominated to the Supreme Court. He is currently under investigation again. Brett Kavanaugh is all the news. We're going to talk a little about that. We're also going to talk about something that he mentioned that he says is bringing some heat, and that is his time that he spent in Little Rock. And we're also going to talk about flu shots. Very important topic for everyone in the family to make sure they get their flu shots. We'll have more on that. Welcome, everyone. I'm Bob Clausen, joined today again by our host of anchors, Ashley Ketz, Mallory Brooks, and Chief Keith Monahan, our chief meteorologist. Let's go ahead and talk about the Kavanaugh thing. This thing has gotten, and I don't want to necessarily get into the allegations that started it all, but the investigation where we are right now. This is something that the Democrats on the Senate committee had called for. The president okayed it. Now there seems to be some talk that maybe a week isn't long enough. Maybe now we need more time. And it's one of those things, and I think now we've gone beyond nominating someone to the Supreme Court or confirming them. We've gone into a stall tactic. A lot of people are saying
it's working.
Well, there you go.
So we're a week later, and we're still delayed.
Still sitting there. And Keith, what do you think? Is this going to get pushed on? Mitch McConnell has called for a vote.
No,
do you think the investigation thing is running off the rails?
You're dealing, and I think people out there, voters, citizens, need to be educated about the process. The advise and consent role that the Senate has. And of course, you want the most qualified person. Kavanaugh is a judge on the D.C. Court of Appeals, which in a lot of cases, and most folks consider that the second highest court in the country. So he's been vetted already. And, I always want to you always have to give the benefit of the doubt to folks that may have been victims of crimes.
Absolutely.
But the investigations that the FBI does are very thorough. A lot of this information would have come out already if, in fact, it was as egregious and widespread as folks had discussed. And I think this comes down to not the man, but maybe the policy or the direction of the Supreme Court, which begs another question or another point. Has the Supreme Court gotten too powerful?
Or too political.
Or too political. I mean, the Supreme Court is basically in the Constitution, is just there to see if a law is constitutional or not. I don't think it was ever designed by the Founding Fathers, and if you look at the Federalist Papers, the court was supposed to be not quite involved as it is today.
Mallory, what do you think of some of the things that you've heard that were discussed as far as from the committee themselves? I mean, they seem to be, the Democrats, very enraged about what happened. They don't think that the process is being fair. They don't think they're getting a fair shake. Do you think everything's being done to accommodate them?
I think this is one example lately that we are seeing of kind of the political ideology right now. Everyone is so completely divided. We have talked about this before, and I just don't know at what point anyone's going to agree on anything if we are just at each other's throats, yelling both sides, and just everyone is kind of in their own echo chambers at this point. And so this is one point of many. Obviously, this is a big one right now, and one that we will certainly continue to see. But I don't know, you just see people so divided at this point. This is completely off topic, and I'm sorry to completely. I want to go back to the Kavanaugh thing. But recently there was a candidate, and I wish I could remember what state it's in, where the brothers and sisters came out and did an ad against. Did you see this?
I saw the ad, yes.
And saw this ad. They talked about it on Meet the Press last week, and I was watching Chuck Todd, who actually had some commentary on it, and Chuck said something that I thought was really
this was just
a good
kind
point.
of clarify, this was an ad where the candidate who was running, there was a commercial, and it has all of his brothers and sisters in it, but they're telling you not to vote for their brother. They're telling you to vote for the other candidate, which was really crazy.
Yes, and I mean, it wasn't only don't vote for him like he's a terrible person. Like, what did you do to your brothers and sisters? But no, you see this, and Chuck Todd made a really good point that I thought about. He said our political ideology has become more important than anything else, more important than our family. It's become more important than our neighbors. It's become more important than our friends, and we aren't listening to each other. We're never going to actually get past. There are some major issues in politics right now. I think we can all agree on that. But until we can stop and listen and stop shouting and stop both sides and start to listen, I don't think we're going to get far.
Nor do I think, and has happened as of recent times, recently, people being accosted in restaurants, at stores. I mean, that's how ugly the argument has become. What I would suggest to folks is just live your life, try to be the best person you could be, and the chips will fall where they're supposed to fall. Take care of your family, take care of your obligations, take care of your responsibilities, follow the rules, and everything will be okay.
Well, that's the situation here. I mean, there are a lot of people, obviously, that support Donald Trump, a lot of people that don't. At the end of 4 years, you get to voice your opinion for or against and make change if you see fit.
And the
Exactly.
timing of all this, I mean, it really is timing, political, you know, in the political world. It couldn't come at, I guess, better or worse timing, depending on which side you're on,
The
with the midterm
midterms-
elections coming up. So the process has become political.
So, and it's, you know, part of the argument, the Republicans saying the Democrats want to push this off to the midterms because they may pick up a seat that gives them more power to vote. Talking about the connection to Little Rock, Brett Kavanaugh was on Ken Starr's staff investigating
Really?
Whitewater, and had there'd been reports that Kavanaugh had encouraged Ken Starr to mention the Monica Lewinsky incident and a specific line of questioning against the president, and he apparently said, you know, they're out to get me. The Clinton machine is out to get me. Do you guys think the Clinton machine is
Oh boy, I hadn't even heard that theory.
still powerful or even moving along
Wow.
to this extent?
It all comes
Or do you
down,
think now that
like Mallory said, there's ideologies, and there's folks that just can't get beyond their ideologies and just do their thing.
Well, you remember too, Keith, back in '91 when Clarence Thomas was up for confirmation. And the big concern there was also, and I think it was Joe Biden at the time, saying, you know, an FBI investigation is not going to conclude anything. We don't need an FBI investigation, you know,
Right.
so don't have one. And then
Well,
now here we are calling for one.
FBI investigations do not prove guilt or innocence. They're not designed to. That's what a court is for. And a court is for taking the information that, whether it be the FBI or police investigators, that's the court's role. The FBI is not, you know, a jury or a judge, and they don't pronounce guilt or innocence.
We're not in court. This isn't a court of law that
Right.
he sits in front of. So
Right.
it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I know Majority Leader McConnell wanted a Friday vote, so we'll have to wait and see if that happens.
The other thing I would encourage everybody, just learn about the process and learn about the issues
Yeah.
before you get emotional about them. Just do
Yes.
some studying.
Absorb the information, and as you know, we're all in the business, and it's so important to read as much as you can and try to understand both viewpoints. Understand the debate, be part of the debate. Don't always just, you know, stick a flag in the ground and say, I'm not moving regardless. You know, find out what's going on. That way perhaps your brothers and sisters won't be doing a campaign ad against you.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Please,
let's all get along.
It's going to
the
be an
other thing
awkward
is-
Thanksgiving, huh, for them.
And the other thing is, do your duty as an American citizen to vote. Even in the most exciting presidential elections, we can barely crack 50, 55, 60%. That's on you folks, the 40% or 50% that aren't going to the polls. So if you feel you don't have a voice and you're not going to the polls, that's your fault.
And it's
That's the way we solve problems in this country, is going and voicing our opinions at the election booth or the election machine or paper ballots and whatever. And that's the way we show what our feelings are, and that's how we run a democracy.
And a lot of
or
people-
I should say a republic.
Republic, right? That's a good point. We can get into that on another one. But
Oh, boy.
and a lot of people too say, "Well, I'm just one vote. My vote doesn't matter. My vote doesn't count." But I tell you what, even in Arkansas, past elections, we've seen some of these races come down to
does.
a matter of votes. So your vote absolutely does count. It
And
makes
we've
a
seen
big
some
deal.
come down to a coin toss.
That's right.
Because they've been tied, and that is the approved method to resolve a tied election, is a coin toss.
I've been in this business.
We don't want to
long
be
enough-
there.
No.
I've been in this business long enough. I remember a duel one time. Went down
Was
to
that
a-
Hamilton and Burr?
Burr,
I think?
right?
Yeah.
Hamilton and Burr.
Alexander Hamilton.
Let's go ahead and move off this. Let's get something that's important to all of us, especially this time of year. We're heading into flu season. If you've ever been held up or laid up with the flu, you know how awful it is, especially for your kids. And actually, you just got some flu shots.
We did the flu
got
shot
the flu
this
shot.
morning. I couldn't get it, but my children got it. And it's a little early. It seems early, but this is the time of year now that they're telling people to go ahead and get your flu shot, because it takes a couple of weeks for it to take full effect. So this morning I took both of the girls into the pediatrician. They had a flu clinic this week. This was the before on your left, happy, chill. On the right, wait, you see the after. I try to distract her with the, the latex disposable
Yeah,
gloves. Those
it does-
usually do the
that
trick,
works for about a minute.
but not today. But she was so proud. You get the I had my flu shot today, kind of like I voted today. Got to wear that proudly to school, and she told everyone I had my SLU shot.
Just give me a lollipop and I'll
She's
be
one of the
happy,
happiest kids on the planet.
And so this really was heartbreaking.
Oh, it's
it
tough.
rocked her world, but she got,
But you know
she's
what?
brave.
It's better than, getting the flu.
Yes.
Right.
Mal, you getting the kids the flu shot?
Yes. So, and I was asking Ashley this earlier, and if anyone at home has any advice, so I have Grace Ann signed up for her little pre-K. They have a pre-K flu clinic, and always I've been with her at the pediatrician, and so Mama wants to be there. But I'm thinking she's 4 years old. Do you think she's old enough where she can march into her school and get it on her own?
I'll tell you
Parents, what do you think? Because this Mama wants to be there.
Oh, the
Pre-K
tears.
flu clinic? Oh my gosh, the
Can you
screaming and
imagine how
wailing in
loud?
that room.
Bless those nurses, bless them, bless them. I don't know. I'm thinking at the end of the day, I will probably end up just taking her to the pediatrician because
Yes.
I like to be
You
there to
don't want
cuddle.
her to have that if something goes
If
wrong.
something goes wrong, I want to be
Sure.
there
And
for
she's
her.
She's going to remember that.
And my son is 4 months old, and you can't get a flu shot until you're 6 months old, so he technically can't
gotta
get
wait
it
a little
yet.
bit, yeah.
Gonna watch that.
So we probably still will do it at 6 months because I know flu season will still be in full swing whenever we get to that point.
And-
I'm hoping and praying that this year, I know the CDC had some problems with it last year. They never know, they never know which
All of
strain.
a
So
sudden they
hoping
say,
and
well,
praying it's right this year.
vaccine isn't working for this strain, whatever the case might be. But it's important, and for adults to get the flu
Right.
shot because
Get it anyway.
we sit there and we're like, man, one, you don't want to have to call in sick to work.
No.
Unless it's sunny and you feel well. But then, if you're at work and you've got a host of things that you've got to get done and someone comes in and they're sick. Like, I got the flu, but I don't have a sick day. So it's like they've got to show up and it's like, now you're going to start making everyone else sick. We can't get stuff
Right, and to protect babies, that
Protect
can't
babies,
have,
yes,
that can't
sweet
get the
baby
shot
boy.
yet. So
Oh.
really, we should all do it.
done. Get the flu shot.
Yeah.
If you're taking anything away from Anchors Away this week, it's go vote
Vote.
and get the flu shot.
Yeah.
Wear both stickers proudly. Send us
And-
pictures.
Maybe at once.
And next week, perhaps we'll have some more news on Brett Kavanaugh and where that thing will wind up. Well, thanks very much for joining us for this installment of Anchors Away. Certainly hope you have an enjoyable week and a great weekend, everyone. Until next time, Anchors Away.